Welcome to question 7. This finance problem. We have 5,000 invested at 6.8% for 16 years, compounded quarterly. Let's just a calculator ready, and then what we do, we have the equation that says accumulated amount is the present amount invested, open bracket 1 plus interest to the power of the term, which is n, and then our present value is 5,000. So we write the 5,000, and our interest is 6.8%, which is 6.8. It has to be in decimals. Divide by 100, so that is going to give us 6.8 divided by 100. It's going to give us 0.068. So that's going to be 0.068. And from there we have the number of terms, which is 16, and then we have our equation there, so which is accumulated amount is 5,000, so that's going to be 5,000, and then open brackets 1 plus the interest is 0.0868 divided by 12 months. Is it quarterly? Yeah, it has to be 4. Yeah, quarterly means 4, so that means it's going to be 4 intervals. So percentage divided by interest divided by 4, and the number of terms also we have 16 of the, so 16 times 4, so 0.068 divided by 4. That's this part there, so that's the part we start with, and from there we add 1, so we add 1, so everything up there, and then we raise that to power 16 times bracket 16 times 4, so that's 2.94133. so that's what the value we have, and then from there we multiply by 5,000. So we multiply that by 5,000, and that's our final answer. It's 14,000. So in 5,000 will give you 14,706 and 56 cents, rounded off to 2 decimal places. So that's the step 1 and step 2, and then we go on the next question. 4 years, printer for half original value, determine the rate of the depreciation. Straight line is not equals to reduced balance, so we have 2. Reduced balance is more like compound interest decreasing. So straight line, it's the way you have the exactly value straight, whereby it's not compounded in the reverse way. So A is 1 plus I think this is compound interest. I don't think that's the equation. Yeah, it's bracket 1 minus ni, and then the final said our A value, which is the accumulated value, is a half of P. So wherever there is A, we put half of P, and then yeah, we know the number of terms there is 4 years, and the interest there is what we want. So it's A is half P, so it's half P is equals to P bracket 1 minus n, n is 4 multiplied by I. So that will mean that we have divide by P, so the P cancels out. So we have half is equals to 1 minus 4i. Okay, so what will happen is we take 1 to the left hand side, so that will be negative 1 plus half, so that's going to be half minus negative 1 is equals to negative 4 over I. And then that means that we have negative 4i is equals to negative half. So we divide both sides by negative half, negative 4, and divide by negative 4 on both sides. So we have I is equals to negative half divided by negative 4, and negative is positive, so let's say 1 negative half. Okay, answer, then divide by negative 4, it gives us 1 over 8. So 1 over 8, it means that we have 1 over 8. So that's our rate. So putting that to decimal value, 0.125. So it's going to be 0 0.125, and then multiply by 100%. Multiply by 100% will give us 1 multiply by 100, and then we write the percent. It's going to be 12.5%. So that's going to be 12.5%, and that's our answer. Okay, and then so we have step 1, 2, 3. Just for simplicity, you can write that into a few steps, 4, 5. That takes us to the final answer. And then moving on to 7.3.1, Tshepo was granted a loan of 100,000 for 5 years, interest 13.5%. Total interest rate will be what in 5 years? So the interest, that will be 5 years. Okay, 5 years is going to be 5. Is it compounded monthly? So it's 5 times 12 will give you 60 months. So we have 60 months. So we know that our interest is amount of money, not interest rate. Interest rate is percentage. Interest is amount of money. So that is amount paid. So that's going to be amount paid minus amount borrowed. Okay, so you borrow money, then interest rate is applied for a period of time, and then that money accumulates, and then minus what you borrowed, so that's the interest you pay. So that's going to be 2300.98 2398 cents times 60 months. So that will give us what? So minus the 100,000. So we minus the 100,000. We can use a calculator for that. So a calculator will be 2,398 cents multiplied by 60. So we get an answer on that. Or we can put the brackets. So that's bracket minus 100,000. So that's 100,000, and then we have 38,058 rand and 80 cents. So that's the interest. So that's the amount that you pay for borrowing. So if you couldn't borrow, if you could invest that money in 5 years, that's the money you would get to you. So when you borrow money, you give money to the lender, and when you invest, the money comes to you. So that's how the interest theory works. So we have 2300.98 multiplied by 60. So that's the amount. So we need to use this amount somewhere. So that's why I need to write that separately. That's 13,008. 138,058 rand minus 100,000. So that's that. So we know that we need 138,000 somewhere. So that's step 1, convert the term to months, and then step 2, substitute in the equation. It gives us the final answer. So 7.3.2, Tshepo paid 22,000. That's a big question. It's 7 marks, so we need to do a lot of work on it. And it's monthly earlier, so paid that 22,000, and then 1 March, and then 2022, and then 1 April 2024. Okay, so from 1 March, so I paid in 1 March, so which means we don't consider the 1 March. Let's consider April. Let's consider March. February actually. So 1 April 2024. 1 April 2022 to 1 February 2024. And how many months is that? So that's so they pay that amount on 1 March, and then we up to February. So it's gonna be 23 months. So it's almost a year, 24, but the fourth one, the final month we won't consider. So we need to know what was the remaining balance. So we need a timeline there. So that is 1st April Let's face April 22, and then we have, this is 1st April 22, and then we have Feb 24, and then we have 1 March 24, and then we have the final period day. So that is that one again. So we just don't know when. That's gonna probably 27, that's when we expect it to end. So what actually happened is we're going to find the principal value, write the equation 23 months. So 23 months, we have 60 minus 23 months. We can use a calculator. We have 60 there minus 23 to give us 37. That's our answer there. So that's 37 actually. So 37 months, outstanding months. All right, so we want to know that, okay, from 37 months, how much is owing, so how much do we expect? So that's the equation we have. X bracket 1 minus open bracket 1 plus I to the power negative n all over interest rate. And then from there we have our present value there. So we need to find what is the value, outstanding amount. So it's 2,398 cents. All that multiplied by 1 minus bracket 1 plus interest rate, which is 0.135. all that divided by 12. So you divide that by 12 and we have the exponent negative 37, and all of that all over 0.135 and over 12. So that will give us what? So we have P there. Our P is going to be, so let us look at it. We take that part first. So that's going to be 0.135 divided by 12. Okay, so that's our part there. And then from there we have to add 1. So we add 1 there, and then to the power negative 37 gives us that amount, and then multiply by that. I think there's an error. I think we didn't remember, it was supposed to be negative and then divide by that. But I think we made an error. We need to double check. Divide by 0.135 divide by 12. That gives us 135,000. No, something wrong. So you double check if you've made an error, if it does make sense. So it does not, so there's an error there. So let's start afresh. 0.135 divided by 12 gives us 9 over that, and then plus 1 to the power negative 7 gives us that. Change the sign, okay, cancel. So it's going to be negative answer, plus 1 there. So 0.338 multiplied by 2300.98 gives us that answer, and all of that divided by 0.135 divided by 12. So it's very important that you double check. So 69,000, it does make some sense. So it's 69,325. So we have 69,000, 69,326 when we round off. So that's the amount outstanding. All right, so from that amount there, after 23 months, that's the amount. Then the amount owed will be now, because remember I paid 22,000 something, and then after 23 months, so we need to find the difference. So the difference will be 22,300. So that's gonna be 69,326.00, no cents. And then all of that minus we minus the amount paid, the hard cash paid, so that's 22,308. So we subtract that from 69,000, subtract that. So what is our answer? Using a calculator once again, so we have 69,326.00 minus 22308.98. So that gives us 47,000. So which means now the outstanding amount is going to be 47,000. So that would be 47,000. So for the 7,000, that means now n is the amount that we need to calculate. So we go back to the original equation. Present value is equals to x, amount paid monthly, 1 minus bracket 1 plus interest rate to the power negative n, all of that over interest rate. And then from there we have the present value is for the 7,000. For the 7,000 and 17.02 is equals to monthly installment is 2,398. 2,398. Okay. All of that bracket 1 minus bracket 1 plus 0, interest rate is 0.135. all of that divided by 12 to the power negative n, and all of that divided by interest rate, which is 0.135 compounded monthly divided by 12. And then from there we have 47017.02. You have to be very strategic when you're doing that. Multiply by 0.135, so we multiply by 0.135 both sides and divide by 2,300.98. all of that is going to give us the right hand side, which is bracket. It's gonna be bracket 1 minus open bracket 1 plus 0.135 divide by 12 to the power negative n. And then from there we use a calculator. So our calculator will be is 47017.02 multiplied by the numerator 0.135 and then divide by denominator 12, so it gives us 528, and then divide by 2309. So every step you make an equal sign and then continue. Don't do it all at once. And then that's the final answer that we have. So it's going to be 0.2298 0.2988. So you put all the decimals there. 8766.068 is going to be 1 minus open bracket 1 minus open bracket 1 plus. So we find our values there. Okay, so it's going to be 0.135 divided by 12 plus 1. All of that answer, then plus 1. It's 1.01125, 1.01125 to the power negative n. So we're getting close to the answer. The power negative, that's negative n, not negative 1, so negative n. So it's gonna be negative 1 plus 0.2287, that's the left hand, is equals to negative 1.001125 all that to the power negative n. So okay, so it's negative n there. Then from there we have negative 1 plus 0.229. So we put all the information that we have there, all the numbers together. 669 gives us negative 0.77. okay, so there's a 0 there, so you can just put negative 0.77 something. So whenever there's a 0 followed by a number, you can cut it at 0. So it's going to be equals to negative 1.01125 to the power negative n. So divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, that cancels out. So that will give us n. Negative n is equals to, becomes positive on both sides, so negative n is equals to log 0.77, and the base is going to be 1.01125. and then from there we can use, let's go, negative n is equals to, we must find the negative answer also, so it's going to be log 0.77 divided by log 1.01125. so what's the final answer there? So it's negative 23.36. it's got negative 23.36. so negative on both sides, so it's going to be positive, so n is going to be 23.36. so n is equivalent to 24 months, because if it jumps 1 month, then it follows on the next month, so it's 24 months. So that's 24 months earlier. So we have 23 months plus 24, I mean not earlier, it's 23 months plus 24 will give us 47. So remember it's 60 months, so it's gonna be 47, and then that means 60 minus 47, that will give us 60 minus 47 will give us 13 months. So that is going to be 13 months. So about 13 months earlier. Okay, so it took 24 months to complete after the 23 months, and then we expected it after 60 months. So those are the steps that we just have to look at and analyze. It's a long problem, so for 7 marks it's worth it. I made a lot of steps just for clarity. If you're solving this on your own, you don't need all of these steps. If you know what you're doing, you can reduce it to 7 to 10 steps. So I just put all the steps there so that you can follow along. That's our final answer there. So yeah, so that is our answer. Okay, that's our final answer. And then and if you guys understood all the steps, so step 1, step 2, 1 is the date, 2 timeline, 3 equation, 4 that's the p-value, 6 amount owed, 7 the difference, 5 there we need to know how long it's gonna take, equation, and then 6 there we substitute, we need to find n, 10 there we simplify, and then 11 we also simplify further, and then that is 12 there we continue simplification, 13 we use log, 14 and then we solve for n, and then 16, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 takes us to the answer. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to follow, subscribe to your teacher Black Adam. Thank you.